Hello, welcome. It's Neil Dugan here, and today is day 24 of the 30-day depression challenge. And of course, that means that we've got 7 more videos to complete, and we're really going to get into down to the business today. So today we're going to start the first of 4 very practical videos, and then we're going to have some summary videos to complete the series. So today we're going to answer the question, I am in fast, what am I going to do? So this idea that you've actually identified yourself as being in fast or mania, so you're feeling manic and you just need to know what to do. So what are the steps that you actually need to do? Obviously what we're talking about here is the full expression of the awakening cycle. So we've got this as the upward cycle, and we're no longer even considering or contemplating the downward spiral. First thing to do is to actually recognize it, and it's a little bit tricky because one type of fast or mania actually seems very similar to happy, and that's when you have the elated form of it. So there's 2 types. One is irritable, and that's relatively easy to identify because you're both irritable and you have to work and you've got to do everything and everything's going to be so busy. So that one's actually relatively easy to find, or to recognize. The other case, though, the case of elation, is a little bit more tricky, because when you're elated, you can be having the most wonderful time doing what you're doing, but you still are compelled. There's a sense of compulsion around doing things, so you've got to do all the chores absolutely now. You're loving doing it, but you have to get everything done right now. Now there's going to be endless consumption going on here, and what you need to do next is actually identify what resources, so these are internal resources, so these are aspects of yourself, are being consumed at a huge pace. Find out what those resources are that are being consumed, and also have a look at your environment. So what resources in the environment are being consumed at a tremendous rate. So these may well be just chewing up the goodwill of everybody around you. So if you think about a family, or a husband or children, or colleagues at work, or whoever it is, their goodwill is very easy to consume, and their ability to actually contribute and support you will soon become consumed if you're actually in this manic phase. Along with that, it'll become reasonably obvious that there are aspects of your environment that are being ignored. So as you're consuming these resources, you'll only feel comfortable consuming them if you don't actually take notice of the effect of this consumption. So have a look at what the effects might be of the consumption and identify that. So actually work out the consequences of the consumption. Have a good look at what's being ignored and amongst all that as well. And then have a look at what the distractions are. So you'll be creating a range of distractions to keep your mind away from, or your emotions or your heart away from, recognizing these things. So have a look at what the distractions are. So you've seen a little bit of the stuff now. Start fishing to actually identify what the distractions are, because the distractions will have a big impact on the issues around the triggering as well. So have a look for the distractions, have a look at the things that you're creating and manufacturing to take your attention away from what you're doing. Along with that will be a whole heap of desires. So what are the desires that are actually making you want to be in this state of consumption? What are the deep desires within yourself, and also what are the desires around the avoidance strategies? So look at all those avoidance strategies and see what the desires are that are feeding and fueling these distraction processes. Now, sitting in underneath all of this will be some suffering. So even if you're in the elated phase, there'll be some kind of suffering which is being buried. You need to go find us. And I know from speaking to many clients that when they identify that anger is simmering, so they're obviously in the irritable phase of this manic process, and the anger is simmering, every time when they dig a little bit deeper, they find sadness, they find sorrow, they find loneliness, they find loss, these kinds of absence-related emotions. Now we get to the nitty-gritty. You have to actually make a choice. You've got to make a decision, and the easiest way to do that is to approach your higher self. So this is the very pure mind and your spirit, and pure emotions, pure mind, and the spirit. Now what you need to do is you need to actually approach this higher self and ask it the question, do I want to continue on this cycle of suffering? Is this what I want? Do I want some change? Am I looking for change really? Now, if you're brave enough to ask your higher self this question, I've never known the answer to be other than, yes, we do want to have change. Change is the only option at this point. We've recognized all these things, we've seen all these patterns, we understand that there's a whole lot of things being buried, we see we're distracting ourselves. We have to change. This is the process of change that's actually needed. And so the change will commence. You'll also want to actually engage your conscious mind in the process at this point. So you want to be able to say loudly and clearly to yourself, or out loud, or to another person, to a friend or family member or a confidant, somebody, actually tell them, these are the things that I'm using as distractions. This is the underlying suffering that I'm missing out on. This is the emotion that I'm busy with at the moment. You know, this is the whole process around here. This is why I'm attached to this kind of suffering. You need to say all of this out loud because you've made a decision to change. The first part of change is actually owning responsibility for the situation that you're presented with, or what you are presenting with. And then the second thing is fronting up to the responsibility of doing something about it as well. So we make a choice, we make a decision to actually make a jump. What we'll do is we'll go into our emotional center, we'll look into our heart, into this emotional center, and we'll say, we're fed up with this the cycle of suffering, we're going to make a change. This is the initiation. So we initiate from the emotions, we have this emotional feeling that we are going to make a change. Then our practical mind will come in and say, I can see the change is perfectly in order here, and not only that, I think that if you modified your ideas in these ways, it would be more practical. So this would be the denying or questioning phase coming from the practical mind. So we're initiating from emotional mind, we are questioning from our practical mind, and then we allow the creative solutions to be generated from the intellectual mind. So we allow the intellectual mind to generate the creative solutions, what we're going to do right now about resolving this tension. As if by magic, in that process, all of a sudden the creative solutions will arise, and the grace will actually be entering in at this point to provide you with all of the resources that are necessary. The serendipity will be available. Everything that you need to actually achieve the outcome that you're looking for will be presented at this moment. The next thing you know, you're back in the state of happy, but of course it's no longer happy. This is awakening that you're going back into, because this is a very awake process that you've just been through. You will not be asleep at this moment. You will have gone back into the place of awakening, of contentment, of joy, of bliss. This will be the inevitable outcome of it. Okay, well look, I hope you found that useful. If you did, please like and share this video. Tomorrow we're going to have a look at the same type of questioning, but based on the subject of, I've found myself in depression, what do I do about it right now? And we'll provide you with all of the tools that are necessary to actually have a look at that situation as well. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks, bye.